Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be looking at the hurricane season again. We're going to be looking at what the ECMWF seasonal forecasts are showing because a new run just came out. They release every month, and there's a lot of new things to look at. So without further ado, let's get started. Actually, one more thing. If you haven't seen my previous two hurricane season forecasts, please go watch them. And if you can, please go watch the severe weather season forecast. Not severe weather season, the severe weather outbreak forecast for this week that I just posted before this video. So without further ado, let's get started. So let's move this down here. And so really what we're going to be looking at for this season is above average sea surface temperatures. We covered the ECMWF briefly in the previous two hurricane season forecast videos. So yeah, this is not a surprise to anybody. So obviously, July, August, September 2024, so this is on the seasonal SST anomaly, so that's why it's covering 3 months, but this is overall August, what we're looking at. So, move my camera down here so we can see the pen here. So, obviously, we see well above average sea surface temperatures for the Caribbean and the main development region. So, any systems that move through the Caribbean are going to have very warm waters to feed off, and that's going to be the same if they say go through the north of the Caribbean islands. Now, the Bermuda high is going to be strong. It's weaker than the ECMWF seasonal is showing it a little bit weaker than the CAN-SIPs. The ECMWF seasonal is also pretty accurate. Some use it more than the CAN-SIPs because it's a very good model. So either this or the CAN-SIPs are people are using. So we're not going to be covering the CAN-SIPs in this video, by the way. But anyway, moving on. So basically, they show the Bermuda high. So we're just going to, this is not what the models actually show. We're not going to be going to that parameter today. Actually, we will. Let's go to it in just a second. How about that? To better explain it to you. So the Bermuda high obviously is going to push storms more west. And sorry for that explanation, just for that rant just then. But yeah, it's going to push systems towards the southern Florida and also through the Caribbean towards the Gulf of Mexico. So that's going to put a lot of the Gulf and part of the South Seas coast at risk. They also, now we're going to see in a second, they're also showing a massive risk, not for, I don't know why, ignore this Mexico part, for Louisiana and Texas. Now, while it is showing a big risk for them, it's just a little bit weaker than the CAN-SIP, so it's also going to have a lot of an eastern risk as well. The CAN-SIP also shows a lot of an eastern risk, but ECMWF shows a little more. But we'll get to that right now before we get to precipitation. So we're going to look at the seasonal pressure anomaly. So we do see the Bermuda high right here, and obviously pushing storms more west, so they extend very far. And it's going to push storms into the Caribbean, and obviously some get towards the East Coast, but mainly the Caribbean and Gulf of Mexico. Could go up more north towards the Gulf, where we're gonna have a big Gulf risk this year. Like I said in the previous few videos, like I said, if you haven't watched them, please go watch them. But then we go to August, September, October, where it's gonna be a little bit weaker, but we still have the large influence where we could have that was a horrible arrow, where we can have systems go even more west towards Texas and Louisiana, but also towards Florida and the southeast coast. So no matter what part of the year is, the Bermuda high is strong enough to push storms very west towards the Gulf of Mexico, even Texas, Louisiana, and the southeast coast is basically what I was just trying to say there in the little rant, which I'm sorry about. But yeah, anyway, we're going to now go to the seasonal, did not mean to do that, sorry, the seasonal precipitation anomaly. Now, pretty much the same for a lot of the year, but we do see July, August, September, August, we do see a lot of precipitation in the Gulf, and really the Caribbean, not the Gulf, but also the Gulf, but I was talking about the Caribbean just then. So, we do see a lot off the coast of Texas, Louisiana, and Mexico. So really, we could have systems going towards there, but an even bigger risk is that they go up north and go towards Florida and Mobile Alabama, Gulfport, Mississippi region too. So the Alabama, Mississippi coast. So Again, it's a little more east, but yeah, definitely a big risk. Now, I do think the Texas risk will be saved more for September, this time period, August, September, October. Sorry. But they go more west in the Caribbean and then go towards Texas, Louisiana. So that's where you guys have to watch out. And this will all make more sense in a bit when we get to all these other tabs. So, obviously, the high precipitation here is going to mean more systems going towards a lot of the Florida Panhandle, too, and then, obviously, Mississippi, Alabama, potentially, too, due to the strong Bermuda high. Now, I do not think we are going to have as big of a, per se, a Florida Peninsula risk, besides like southern Florida, where I do, like Miami-Dade region, where I do think we'll have a high hurricane risk, but otherwise not as much of a Tampa south risk due to systems going more west and north. So nothing like Ian, and Adalia might be also a little bit too east, but potentially an Adalia track, but obviously we can't forecast specific tracks, but I don't think we'll have stuff as like southeast as like Ian. But we could see, I do think we'll see southern Florida activity. And maybe even we can have systems where they go towards southern Florida and potentially they could do like an Irma, Katrina thing, and they could go into the Gulf of Mexico and hit somewhere along the Gulf Coast, or they could go up through Florida like Irma did. Potentially some up the East Coast systems, but then again, stronger Bermuda high, so it might prevent it from happening. So now we're going to be done with the models and get to the charts. So, and more numbers. So, like I said, this is going to be landfalls, and we're going to look at numbers too, because ECWF, the new run, is showing a lot of concerning things. So, tropical storm number. So, this is for the North Atlantic, and we're probably not really going to be using our pen for a bit, so I'll move my camera back up here. So, we do see high frequency. Now, the forecast says blue, observations are red, and then the forecast error range is green. So this is just all the years. And really, for 2024, Euro is forecasting its most tropical storms ever, 21 named storms, the highest it's ever gone. We don't really have observations yet, but they will likely be very concerning. If we go to March here, it went down to 17, 18. But then again, this is 6 months out, so it's not the full hurricane season in March, because it would only go up to September. The full hurricane season, 21. Now, we could see as low as 17, which I really don't think. I think we're going to go to a hyperactive season, but as high as 26. Now, this goes out to October, so it's not even including November yet, so we will probably see even more observations we don't have yet, but yeah, definitely very concerning. And this is for the Atlantic, obviously. Now, really quickly, we're going to look at the Eastern Pacific, the East North Pacific, where they're expecting around 17. So, not very high compared to the Atlantic, at least, but still potentially an above average season, but it's going to be strong La Nina, so I'm still expecting below average for the Eastern Pacific. But yeah, that is not what we're talking about today, so let's move on. So, hurricanes and / typhoon number if we're looking at the Western Pacific. But hurricanes, forecast up to 11 hurricanes. The average is 8. And from March, this went up from 9. But still, that's above average. But for now, we're at 11. We could see as low as 7, which is average. I think we'll see way more than that. But we could see as high as 14 or 15 hurricanes, this says. And, of course, we don't really have observations yet. But this is very concerning. Also, observations. I don't know what that means. It might mean the amount of hurricanes. I'm not going to fact check that actually happened in that year, because it would make sense to stop at 2023. But, we're not going to talk about that. But yeah, we can see as high as 15 hurricanes, which would be very concerning. Obviously, it'd be record breaking, like some analogs, 2005. So very concerning indeed for a big land threat and just a lot of hurricanes in general. Now, accumulated cyclone energy. So, above average, the normalized ACE, so standard deviation up to 2.4, down to 1. So, this is going to be so we could see up to double the ACE as forecasting 180% of the normal ACE, it says, but we can see up to 230% of the normal ACE, which would be over 200 ACE. And the current forecast, I think, is around 200 ACE. I think that's where 1.8 would put it around. So very concerning indeed, and I do think we'll see above 200 ACE, especially with the amount of hurricanes and major hurricanes we can have, up to 5 maybe. Yeah, very concerning indeed. But here's just showing that in a different chart. So I'm not sure what the significant at 5% means, but for the Atlantic, up to 21 named storms, and they're saying 14.2 hurricanes, 14.2 tropical storms is a mean, but yet 21 named storms they're expecting, as you can see there. Now, for the Atlantic, 10.9 hurricanes, with the average of 6.9. And again, I don't know what the 3.4 means, but hey, yeah. But yeah, definitely a very worrying season indeed. Again, I don't know what the significant 5% means. But yeah, cyclone energy 1.7, so 170%. What they're expecting. And again, ECMWF is on the lower side, the conservative side. So yeah, I might release another video tomorrow because the TSR, Tropical Cyclone Risk, is releasing another outlook tomorrow, a second outlook since December. So this would be its April outlook. And I think they show landfall numbers and hotspots potentially. I'm not sure, but they do show numbers. So I might put a community post on that. Anyway, moving on. Nino 3.4 index. So the mean, it seems, is going to down around negative 0.8 by September. I think that's on the conservative side. ECMWF is definitely on the much higher end on temperatures on the Nino 3.4 index. So they're showing much closer to a neutral. They're still showing a La Nina, but I do think we could see below -1. This is definitely on the lower side. And finally, the main thing, which we're going to put our camera down here now, we're going to use a pen. We see what I was talking about earlier, the landfalls. So based on the standard tropical storm density, I don't know if I can zoom in. I don't think I can. Let's see here. Oops. Okay, I don't think I can zoom in, sorry. But definitely what we can be seeing is what they're showing is more of it's red, so we're going to change it to pink. So what we're really seeing is systems coming maybe out of the Caribbean islands and going up through the Florida Panhandle, up the East Coast, or out of the Caribbean and going towards Florida Panhandle, East Coast region. And then, of course, we have, now that's not the only risk, but that's what they're showing at the moment. And then towards Texas and Louisiana as the other scenario. Now, in March, it was very different. Again, it only went up to September. But yeah, some activity off the Gulf Coast. So what this could mean is also Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, I do expect to be a risk. But yeah, stuff coming out of the Gulf Coast towards the Florida Panhandle, maybe Florida Big Bend too, Alabama, Mississippi. So all the regions I just mentioned between Louisiana and the Florida Big Bend is going to be the more east risk, and then Texas and Louisiana will be the west risk. But it's all going to be, all the storms are going to go more west due to the strong Bermuda high, like I said, and depending on how strong it is and the timing, we could have some systems go up the East Coast. But yeah, sorry for all the ranting, but hopefully this was an informative video for y'all. Any questions, please leave them in the comments. And yeah, that's going to be it. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Like I said, please go watch the severe weather outbreak forecast and the previous 2 hurricane videos if you haven't, and that's going to be it. But yeah, anyway, guys, have a great day.